Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Gilliland, one of the founding attorneys at the Legal Geeks. With me is Jordan Huppert, longtime friend, and we are going to discuss the 1987 classic Monster Squad. Jordan, how are you doing?
I'm well, Josh. Thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. It's October. Life's good. So let's chat about this fun movie. When did you first see it?
Uh, Thursday night.
Oh, okay. Uh, I saw it. I know I got some years on you. I saw it in '87 while visiting my grandparents in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So there's a sweetness there that I have for this film just from, again, it was summer and we spent a couple weeks with our grandparents and they would often drop us off at the movie theater, which was in a mall, to
Nice.
see, yeah, so like we saw RoboCop and
Mm.
I think it was the summer before '86, saw the Transformers movie when we visited them.
Oh.
So Back to the Future, the year before. So again, all fun, all good. But let's break down perhaps the greatest love letter to Universal monsters of all time. So maybe second only to Young Frankenstein, but this does have it covers all of them as opposed to just a lot of Frankenstein love for all of the Frankenstein movies.
Mm.
So we both went through this. We did some issue spotting, and one of the issues you identified with, you can't murder a vampire. Can you explain what you mean by that observation?
Sure. So this is always one of those like funny cocktail conversations that I find myself in is like, well, could you prosecute somebody in X movie for murdering this vampire, or could you prosecute, oddly, the vampire for murdering this person? And the answer is always no, because the the model penal code and most of the laws based off of it are murder or homicide, I guess, is defined as the killing of one human being by another human being. So if you are definitionally not human, like a vampire, you can neither be murdered nor be prosecuted for murder.
So the legal status of vampires is not something we've ever covered before because you could argue that they're formally human, but they're now something else, being undead.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a category we don't have because like it
Yes,
doesn't.
the law has never kept up with the rise of the undead.
No, it's, Congress and state legislatures have not held special sessions to address the issue of vampiric assailants who are killing people and consuming their blood. That's not something the legislature is engaged in.
I'm sure they're just getting around to it.
I don't know if a court would be cool with the idea of saying you can't prosecute a vampire for killing a human being. Like for every wrong, there's a right. So do they just call a mulligan on that and leave it to the defense to make the argument they're not human? Or would there be another attack that they could do? Because taking the position that they're like uh vermin, like
Courts,
rats, or that you can exterminate, because if you have mice in your house, it's okay to call an exterminator. The issue is the mice aren't, well, again, they have a different social structure than humanity, but it's not a former human being that's at play, and like that's the differential here, that you have somebody who was formerly human who's now a creature of the night.
gross abuse of a corpse.
Yeah, I mean, what do you prosecute? Because again, you're not, but do you go, we don't need to have a trial? I don't know, like that could be the other extreme, which is offensive to our view of justice, that will just indefinitely hold creatures of the night as a matter of that's what they are, so we don't have to treat them as human beings anymore. I think that would be problematic as
That would be
well.
very problematic. So I will call back to an old article that I think you wrote for the site about the legal status of droids in Star
Hmm.
Wars, and I suspect that when we start to get into the area of sentient non-humans, the law is going to have to do some some adapting.
Agreed.
Um,
And if this were an actual problem, I don't know how it could play out, because it would probably hit a courtroom before it would hit the legislature.
hmm
And a judge would do one of two things. They would say, we're going to follow our traditions and like do Miranda rights, rid of habeas corpus, and all of the things that we're used to. Just as soldiers on the battlefield who conduct arrests of terrorists read Miranda rights
hmm
because it's just what we do. It's what we're used to doing. And so we're going to follow that tradition on how we apply our laws. The other way is, sorry, we can't hold them, or we're not going to try them because they're not human, but they're still a dangerous creature and treat it like a wild bear or some other escaped animal that's a hazard. Either ruling would get the legislature to respond.
hmm Yeah, and that, I mean, at least in the criminal realm, that is often the way we see laws go through is, something happens in the courtroom that a group or groups feel is unjust. They petition the legislature changes the law to mete out whatever they think, I suppose, in the moment justice is, and then we adapt to the law.
Especially if it makes a lot of news, because if you have a situation where, like at the end of this film, Dracula kills a whole lot of police officers.
Yep.
Okay, I lost count, but it might have been seven. Uh, just in marching up to the little girl. So you
Yeah.
have a whole bunch of dead police officers. That would make the news. Like there's no way around that. That would
Yeah.
absolutely, positively make the news.
Yeah.
And
Army called out to small southern town to deal with monster invasion would probably make at least some newspapers,
yeah,
especially once they figured out it wasn't a joke.
yeah, it's like, oh, that's cute. Oh, it was real. Here's the Gillman's corpse. He's real. Yeah, it's because he might have been the only one not vacuumed up, or the mummy's remains, might not.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw police officers get sucked into the void as well. So,
Yeah.
you
The
know,
mummy unravels, the werewolf turns back into a human. Dracula and Frankenstein get sucked up into the void. I guess we should probably say there's spoilers for the end of the movie.
yeah, yeah, this movie from 1987. Yeah, and we're talking about the details of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. I don't remember what happens to the Gill man.
Horace shoots him.
Yeah.
And so again, he did. And, does the vortex, to limbo pull in the corpse? Because if you do have bodies, and again, there would be autopsies. There'd be autopsies of the Wolfman. There would be
hmm
autopsies of the Gillman. If there's a pharaoh that came back to life, that would be studied. And they
Yeah.
would, how did this happen?
Well, and of course, in the grand scheme, the grand tradition of monster movies, can you even be sure he's dead?
I would think there's a
The
high
Gill man
probability.
returns.
Yeah, I think the Gillman, I mean, he took a shot to the right side of the chest. Probably took out the lungs. I mean, if it was the left side, probably would have hit the heart, but like you see him stop breathing.
hmm
The mummy is a more interesting question because he unravels. Could he
Yeah.
be reconstituted? I don't know. But again, like those are the nerd questions to ask for all the monster fans out there of, could the mummy be put back together? I don't know. But
Yeah.
all right, that's just murdering a vampire. We see there's a lot of unfortunate 1980s insults that kids did say in the 1980s. And it's super cringeworthy to see today because I remember kids saying things like that. And today kids wouldn't say things like that. It's Nearly 40 years later, we don't do that anymore. But Horace is nicknamed Fat Kid, and even by his friends.
Yep.
We have bullies that call him Fat Kid, and he says, my name is Horace. There's full-on bullying, and then it turns into assault and battery. If not torture with, stepping on a candy bar and telling him to eat it. Bad situations. You've done criminal defense. What are some of your thoughts on the criminal aspects of, kids getting bullied and assaulted?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose first I will say that you are correct. This movie is, if I could describe it as nothing else, I would call it aggressively 80s. There is a lot of what's it, anachronisms? No, not anachronisms. I don't know. There's a lot of things that are culturally relevant at the time that would have been perfectly normal fit in with the movie time period, I think. That you are correct, are very, very cringeworthy today. But that said, I've done a small amount of juvenile delinquency laws, and you do see situations like this come up um, fairly frequently in that courtroom. And I won't get into the debate of criminal prosecutions against children, but you do. This is the kind of situation that those courts generally deal with. The bullies are definitely charged with assault. The older kid who ends up joining them, whose name Rudy,
It, who's middle school.
who's
Oh,
middle school.
and so like the other kids are
Yeah.
12. So like let's say he's an eighth grader that looks like he's a senior in high school. And the other kids, I mean, 12, you
Yeah.
could be sixth grade or seventh grade, depending
Hmm.
on the uh, exact time of
Yeah.
the birthday and like where you might live. But
Yeah.
12-year-olds, because again, 14, a lot of eighth
I think,
graders, a lot of kids turn 14 in the eighth grade. I know from my scouting experience. So 12 or 13 in the seventh grade makes sense. 13 to 14 in the eighth grade makes sense. If these kids are 12, they could be sixth graders, or they could be seventh graders.
yeah.
And if there's
And
the
that,
comment,
so that actually brings up another interesting issue of what age can someone be brought into juvenile court? Because if they're 12, they might actually fall too young, depending on what state we're in. So if we're assuming, I think you and I were talking about this a little before we started, if we assume Alabama has an age of 14 to be brought into juvenile court. Oh no, that's age juvenile case can be transferred to adult court.
okay. And again,
So
so those who might be wondering what we discussed, it was what state did this take place in? And I think it's somewhere in the South because we have swamps. There's antebellum looking houses for a lot of the action takes place. But then you get suburbia because this was filmed in LA, or I wouldn't be surprised if there was a universal backlot. So, you could be in Northridge in some neighborhood for it's like this looks a lot like Southern California, and then it looks very antebellum all of a sudden. But yeah, it's again like you have the Delta in California, but that is not doesn't look like a Louisiana swamp. And this definitely looked like a southern swamp.
yeah, um, no, it definitely did look like some of the older parts of the South and some small town, could be small town Alabama or northern Florida,
Yeah, Louisiana. I'm just something.
Louisiana.
Parts of Arkansas. I mean, like so. Again, there's places where it could make sense. But what doesn't make sense is if they're in a hot part of the state, clothing matches. Sheriffs do have a mild resemblance to Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah, good times.
Good time. But again, no one, again, you don't hear many Southern draws, but there's some, there's a little,
Yeah,
but anyway, so that could play a factor on whether or not those kids would end up in juvenile hall. I don't think those what they did would rise to the level of getting having them prosecuted as an adult because that would just seem vindictive.
No.
Mhm. This is definitely guidance counselor territory
Oh yeah.
that you would want to intercede. And also from a policy standpoint, you don't want to truly turn them in to criminals.
No.
So it can be a self-fulfilling prophecy with if they go depending on how they attack it.
Yeah.
So I would prefer them not, it's again, kids need a influence on how to behave.
Yeah. And um courts are many things, but they are not the world's best teachers.
No,
So bringing a child into a even, juvenile quasi-criminal court setting to try to teach them how to behave is not your best social use of funding, in my humble opinion.
I agree with that opinion. There are other methods to encourage socially acceptable behavior that doesn't put people on a, school to prison fast track. So, but yeah, there's some disturbing things that happen and disturbing. I don't remember kids using language like that takes place in the bullying scenes with such fervor and jubilation. I do remember that getting thrown around, but not to the
Mm.
extent that that happens in the beginning of the film.
Yeah, I do. But, a few years apart, and so I would have been growing up after this. I was born in 85. So we would have been the generation taking influence from movies like this.
Yeah, so that was life was like in the 80s. It's like, it's like it's way turned up. Like
Yeah.
it's way turned up.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it did happen, but I don't remember on the playground people throwing around terms like that indiscriminately. I remember it because it was seen as an insult, it was seen as offensive, and it was seen as mean. It still happened, but today it's just no, like no one should be doing that. Like in
Nope.
just society doesn't tolerate that kind of behavior anymore. Um, Moving forward, we do have some peeping Tom invasion of privacy issues. That's
Speaking of other things we still don't tolerate.
it's just like, oh Lord, like so like
Yeah.
the hero kid. Okay, so again, bullying the response to bullying shouldn't be bullying. Like the policy of we'll just slap some sense into them. Oh, that is very aggressively 80s and also not
Yep.
reflective of reality. But as Rudy is trying to get into the Monster Squad, they're in the treehouse and he's playing Peeping Tom on one of the kids' older sisters, who's let's just say high school. Uh,
Yeah, here's hoping.
yeah,
Or,
yeah.
18, I'm sure.
Just oh God. So there's definitely an age gap. Um,
Yeah.
it's creepy. It's wrong. And again, it's the original Wolfman has inadvertent peeping Tom invasion of privacy because we have Larry Talbot. He's at his father's estate. They have a new telescope installed for stargazing, and he looks through it, and it's aimed at the town, and that's how he sees the female lead.
Hmm.
And it does turn into a weird peeping Tom situation out of the gate. So it's like don't, and
So
it's
you're saying it's an homage in the scene.
possibly. I mean, so because again,
It's in
there,
there for the artistic purpose of
yeah, it's I again, I don't. We didn't have a tree house. That didn't happen in my neighborhood. So, Lord Almighty, people close blinds. But again,
yeah.
peeping Tom and throwing a camera in makes it worse. It's because it's like it's not like an accidental like looking out the window and seeing okay she has the blinds open. Whoops.
Yeah,
Um,
no, this feels much more thought out
yeah,
with the
there was
camera
a
and the tripod and
there was a plan. Um, that does again. That
And
requires intervention.
yeah,
I'm
probably with all of them, because it is also real strongly implied that this is his first time in the treehouse. And unless he brought that camera, uh, yeah, best not go down that road.
Yeah, it's like, why did they have no, no, it's like, what were they, what was the plan there? Like, that's not a normal way to leave a camera. Like, I do a lot of photography. The cameras are in their bags,
Hmm.
tripods put away. Like, it's
Yeah,
nothing's just set out. Uh,
no, and none of that's inexpensive.
no, no, it's again, it's like I'm sure dad finding out that the camera was set up to creep on the neighbor girl um probably wouldn't, mom and dad would not be happy. Mom and dad had enough problems already uh,
Yeah,
that require counseling, but tossing in one, my son or one of his buddies is a peeping tom and using our treehouse, like that's just
yeah, that's it's not gonna win you points back down at the precinct either.
no, no, like they, I mean, like he has to come down like a hammer on it just and again, like, does that require charges in order to correct the behavior? Because again, there's a victim. Uh,
There is.
there's an absolute victim with this, and she's not going to sit back and go like, "Oh, boys will be boys." No, that's not an acceptable answer to this situation. Like, drop the hammer. Uh,
Well, and
and
especially, I mean, today we have the addition of the internet and digital photography, which today makes these things generally worse because they are then pictures like that are then shared or posted somewhere, and that's worse.
the peeping Tom
Um,
laws, again, it's a state issue. They fall under invasion of privacy. Some states actually call them peeping Tom. Uh, States have started incorporating drones into their laws because
mhm.
they don't want somebody flying a drone outside of somebody else's window for taking pictures, which meant
Yeah.
it happened because very few legislatures write laws proactively, going, this could be a problem, so we'll come up with something. Most laws are because something happened and the legislature reacts to the situation.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Oregon statutes are broad enough that we haven't specifically written in drones, but I don't think it excludes them. Um,
I could see a DA come out swinging.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
it's like they should. It's like no, just no. Um, Especially today, with the way that people can like cyberstalk and just the opportunities for bad behavior are such that laws exist to protect
Hmm.
people from such behavior. And as we keep developing technologies that can be exploited for nefarious purposes, laws will need to continue to adapt to that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Thus far, they've done a particularly slow job of adapting to tech, but
It's hard to keep up.
it is.
It's really hard to keep up, and unless something big happens, you don't see an evolution. Again, look at the Stored Communication Act. That's also from like 87. Uh, we haven't updated that. And so
Well,
there's
communications haven't changed since '87. It's okay.
yeah, computer storage still the same.
Very much so.
Still big floppy disks. You know, Windows, that's crazy talk. All right. We do have a nice World War II bomber cameo. I think it's a B-25, twin engine bomber that If it is a 25, that's what Jimmy Stewart flew during World War II. Era of surplus, people did have government surplus planes that they could use and like that they could get. It makes me wonder, did this thing cross the Atlantic carrying corpses? Because I don't think it has the range to do that. So
I don't know. Where else would they have picked up the Mummy and Dracula?
Dracula and Frankenstein, the mummy was in a museum.
Oh, that's right.
So, and there's other issues to talk about with that. Probably Europe. And I know B-17s, I mean, like they would have to stop in like I think Iceland to refuel in order to get to England. So maybe something similar. Again, we can go look up the range and then figure out where do they refuel. Uh, but you have international transportation of a corpse, and there's a lot of rules that come with corpses. In addition to knowing a lot about e-discovery, I know a lot about treatment of dead bodies, which would make a really unique practice area. And it's because of movies like and TV shows like this that have corpses moving across state lines. That gets complicated. And
I
you would,
assume there's a permitting system or something.
yeah, and it's like it comes up with, person dies in state X and then it's transported back to state Y. Like again, there's applications and permits. Like you just don't bury someone in the backyard. Like there's a process that we follow for that because we want human remains treated with dignity and we want them buried as soon as possible. And the buried as soon as possible intent is to prevent diseases from running rampant. So that's why we want to bury as quickly as possible. And there's a sordid history with like autopsies. Bodies are regulated. Like we just don't want,
Generally not stuffed in a wooden box and put in the back of a cargo plane.
yeah, or strapped to the roof of the car when, grandma dies on the road trip. Like not okay. So not okay. Um, mm, yeah, too many movies where that happens. Like, no. But you identified this, so other thoughts that you might have on it.
No, I just kind of remembered you saying that it was something you had learned about. I thought you might have fun with it.
Yeah, good eye. Yeah, it's like it was a decade ago that all these TV shows just had dead bodies crossing state lines and like getting buried in different places. It's like, yeah, you can't just do that. There's, yeah, there, that's how desecration of a corpse happens, or abuse of a corpse. It upsets people.
And I don't do much federal work, but I guess if you're talking about crossing state lines, you're talking about federal problems.
It can come up that way. So there's depends if a crime happens, but if it's you need to look up the exact requirements that I saw years ago, but you can't just move it from state A to state B without doing some paperwork. Again, think of oh God, was it Vacation or Little Miss Sunshine? It's like the grandparent corpse does not go on the roof of the car. It's no.
No, thank you.
You, you don't do that. Uh, but again, these guys are undead, so like that adds another weird spin on this that the law is not designed for. So you identified with the Wolfman. Uh,
Yeah, this was a
uh,
fun scene.
yeah, so California, we call it a 5150 hold, but can you describe what an APO is?
Uh, well, APO is short for assault on a public safety officer. So the scene where the Wolfman is in the police station trying to get himself arrested so that he can get locked up before he turns into a werewolf. He is doing basically everything he can. Short of arresting someone, you can Oregon calls it civil commitment holds, or I guess California's 5150. But the idea is that if someone is not mentally well enough that they become a danger to themselves or a danger to other people, you have the option of involuntarily holding them in, at least in Oregon, it's a hospital setting, um, where they're then hopefully treated and it goes, you can treat them and release them, or you can extend the hold. much longer. But usually these are like quick holds to stabilize people, get them on medication, and get them into treatment things. So I thought it was interesting that, and I'm not surprised that in the 80s they wouldn't have had something like that to go to. Um, but that would have been your first go-to with the Wolfman before he starts beating up the police and steals one of their guns, uh, which then gets him shot.
Yeah, so there's almost like a suicide by cop,
Hmm.
element, but he wants to be put into a cell, which raises all kinds of questions. Like when the Wolfman is human, um, he has his own personality, understands right from wrong. How do you end up there? Like, because I understand the wolf comes out once a month for a couple number of nights that they have a full moon, which is what, two, three? I'm not
Give
positive
or
on that.
take.
Yeah. So that means if he knows that the wolf wants to get to, Alabama, he can go to Alaska, and like I have control over this, that the wolf cannot run between Alaska to Alabama in 2 nights. So like there's a way to deter that. That then creates a big plot hole.
Yeah.
And like what's this guy done? Is like I don't think he's a recent werewolf because he's got the crazy factor of someone who's been living with it for a while. Speculation, but it's
Yeah.
not like
Well, and Dracula clearly knows about him.
yeah. And uh so again, it raises the issue of what else has he been doing? Does he set up like a pen for himself and that's how he keeps himself safe? Or is he, like the 1970s Hulk TV show where he's just, wandering the countryside and knowing that he's going to turn into a wolf once a month and cause problems and if not kill people. So issues there. I mean, this also again, it's poking holes in the plot for a movie that I do have strong affinity for. But like my reaction to that is like, did Dracula have acolytes? Like, how did Dracula get a car there? Like that wasn't dropped out of the airplane. So had he been setting up shop there for a while, and thus he had a base of operations, and thus did a mission to go get Frankenstein, and the other creatures knew that we're all going to rendezvous here. Uh, so
And
did
that was
he?
my assumption was that he had been moving toward this for a while because he
Yeah,
knew the journal was there and the journal had been in the town for a bit because mom bought it at a sale or something.
yeah. So Van Helsing clearly had his, as it's referenced, his disciples that set up
Yeah.
the amulet to be in a place where a vampire could not enter because of the religious iconography that's posted. We're going to surround it with crosses and other things that will keep out creatures of the night. But again, would that keep the creature from the Black Lagoon out? Could Frankenstein not have just walked in there?
Yeah.
Uh,
But I don't know that Van Helsing would have planned for that because they weren't in the opening scene.
no, and they clearly die out. And if you have 100 years to prepare for something, that's several generations.
Hmm.
And like, would it be like the grandkids or great grandkids just not believe what's going on? Or did Dracula have cronies over the decades knock out family trees
Yeah.
that could have posed the threat?
You figure vampires often have like thralls type, not Igors, they were Frankenstein, but
Familiars
familiars and servants.
or brides, and we'll talk about them shortly.
Eh.
Um, yeah. Again, they recruit
Yeah.
in a unique way that causes problems.
Renfield, that was Dracula's buddy, servant. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, no, no. It's again,
Just came to me.
but the So in California, it's similar with a 5150 hold being an involuntary confinement, and there's a process and procedure. We actually considered changing the law um, a while in the past election that we had
Hmm.
for trying to treat homeless who are suffering from mental illness because we you run into this phenomenon of there's someone who clearly needs help, but our system's not designed to help them because that would involve a confinement and you need due process requirements. And
Hmm.
so it turns into this ugly balancing act of it's inhumane to let someone suffering from a mental illness just suffer in homelessness. If treatment could help them so they could function and hold a job and not be homeless. But in order to do that, you need to confine them and treat them. And there are huge civil liberty issues with going, we're just going to cowboy up and involuntarily confine people so we could medicate them. Um, and that can open the door to some very scary situations as well.
Yeah.
And like there's no good answer for this on how it plays out. It's bad in every direction.
Hmm.
So now you just noticed another issue. What was the other issue that you noticed?
Oh, with the Wolfman scene?
Yes.
Anytime a police officer shoots somebody, it's an investigation. Um, but considering the Wolfman has a gun and has shot the ceiling, and I think he pointed it at one of the officers at some point, this one's probably a short investigation.
Yeah, and there's
Um,
tons of witnesses in the police scene to go like, no, no, that made sense.
yeah,
It's like the guy had a gun. He Lenny, Frank, and Carl all got punched in the face and thrown
yeah,
through windows. Like it's
yep,
no, that's a very clear cut. Like
yeah,
no, it was right to discharge your firearm. Like, there was, and I that was like pre-tasers being issued to people. So like it was
yeah.
not.
Nope, that was pretty clearly the choice of the moment.
Yeah. If it was today, it's like, did you try tasing him? Like I could see that being an argument of but again, like he had a gun.
Yeah.
As soon as he has a gun and he's fired the gun, you've crossed into the situation where lethal force makes sense.
Mm,
If he didn't have a weapon, yeah, like escalating to lethal force is problematic in my view.
yeah. No, I agree. I think they could have done a better job talking him down at the beginning, but at the point where he's beaten up four of them and stolen one of their guns, that's not going to end any other way.
And again, it highlights, I mean, going to his mental capacity. Like here's someone who's clearly traumatized and in a bad place because he knows he
Hmm.
turns into a monster and he can't control it. He's aware of what's happening uh,
Yeah.
as well. So like hands are not on the steering wheel. He's along for the ride. It's traumatized him because his life is destroyed from this experience, and he doesn't want to go around harming people.
Yeah.
So it's which raises the issue of, well, we'll get to it at the end, but how do you stop the wolf man? All right, so let's go back to the treehouse. How's the dog get in the treehouse?
I assume one of them carries the dog up, but it is one of the better unanswered questions of the movie. Is Rudy, when they're all doing the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
1980s hands in thing, how'd the dog get up here?
It, he's like it's not like a German Shepherd. It's like a beagle.
Hmm.
So he could put it in a basket.
Yeah, but he's about the same size as all the kids.
Yeah, it's a small dog. Barks at the creature when it surfaces. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's a good boy.
Good
Uh,
dog.
yeah, again, as with the vortex open, hanging onto the dog's tail. Very cute. All right, so we then get a training montage because again, this is a 1980s movie.
Yeah.
and it would be weird not to have a prep montage because they know their battle against evil is about to unfold. So there's a lot of theft by the junior high student who who's again looks like he's right out of the 1950s streetcar named Desire type
Yep.
look. Steals like a bow and arrow from an archery course. We have one of the moms realizing her silver's gone as this kid is smelting, you know,
In
built.
what is obviously shop class.
Did
Like, nobody in this kid's class is looking at him sideways as he's smelting and making silver bullets.
you can't just that was the 80s. That's just how we rolled. Like that's not the I was lucky to have a wood shop class when I was in junior high. We made a letter holder. And so that again, I made like when I was in the seventh grade, and picture frame too. So
Oh.
yes, going back, no one could be sharpening wooden stakes. It's like you're not supposed to make weapons.
And I assume there's a teacher who would have at least noticed at some point.
Yeah, I mean, again, I remember our shop teacher being pretty cool. Just kind of
Yeah.
a gruff dude who taught wood shop. So again, that kind of explains the personality type of it's like jeans and button-up shirt and like he works wood. Like it's understands tools and teaching like again, safety goggles, how not to cut off a finger. Again, we I, it was a very, late 80s experience for me of like that's how we rolled.
Yeah.
Uh
But like, could you have hauled in like gunpowder and all the
no,
stuff you have to mix into the cartridges to make the
absolutely not. And no one could start making steaks. Like the teacher would have noticed that was like, no, what are you doing?
Because I was there. I could see the making steaks as just kind of a teacher overlooked kind of thing, and maybe he made them pretty quick and nobody noticed. But then he's making bullets. It's like there's
Absolutely
only
not.
one thing that's gonna go to.
It's like I don't remember anyone smelting anything in class. Like, you have like an hour. That's a really efficient use of time.
Yeah. Well, on the plus side, kid's got a career in front of him.
Going from again that's fun and silly to something like dark. We Dracula kidnaps three girls. They're either high school students or sorority girls, like they're all in like little uniforms and they're trapped in the closet. And he doesn't like just kill them and consume their blood. He turns them into vampires. And which means like he's now recruiting and building a small army. And because the new vampires will need to feed too.
Hmm.
And the town's only so big. So like you've got it's a problem with that. But with the concept of brides of Dracula, which there are movies of that title, none of them actually have Dracula marrying multiple women. Like they don't do a marriage ceremony, but it's the recruiting through biting and turning them into vampires. But bigamy is a crime. The way bigamy laws generally work, they can vary state to state. First marriage is valid. A second marriage would be invalid. It like would not be effective at all. And so if a marriage was in another state, the first marriage is the one that controls. You can't marry three women on one night. Like that's just not our laws do not recognize that at all. Bigamy is a crime. Punishments vary as well on how it is. Any in your criminal defense practice that ever come up? So
Oddly, not in the criminal defense practice, but when I was doing family law briefly, it did once. Somebody came in and said, I found out that my partner is still married and didn't tell me, and now I want out and I need to get a divorce. It's like, nope, you just file this and void the second marriage and you're good. That's the end of that.
Oh, that would
But
so suck for that person. Like,
it really did.
you get weird issues of probate could come up. Like, because
Hmm.
let's just say that it happened later that what the person thought was her husband died, and she finds out that the guy was married to somebody else prior to marrying her. That turns into a weird train wreck pretty fast
Yep.
on inheritance and if there's a will or not, no will, and
Yeah.
things get
This particular situation was lucky, and there weren't a lot of assets to split up or anything like that, and no kids, thankfully.
yeah, that's good.
Um, but man, that can get sticky.
Yeah, especially if it's like they've been together, like let's just say together for a decade.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like what do you like if a house was purchased, like there's assets and
Hmm.
again, and now we're in an ugly area of family law that it's like why I don't want to do family law. That stuff is weird.
No, it it was a short-lived part of my career, thankfully. But yeah, that's also a weird little quirk of practicing what I at the time called door law, which is just if you walk in, I and are willing to pay me to do things, tell me about it, and I may take your case because I had a private practice and needed to pay rent. Um, so these like weird situations popped up from time to time.
It's people don't seek lawyers because they need someone to be on the bowling team. I mean, I would welcome that of
Mm,
somebody calling for like, hey, I'd
yeah.
love to go bowling. We need someone for our team. That would be a nice phone call. But normally they call a lawyer because something bad happened and they need help.
Hmm.
Um, the exception to that is someone doing like advanced estate planning or wanting to set up a company like that can at least be proactive and not born of tragedy. Um,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, there's
A nice letter of warning to anybody thinking about law school in the fall.
you get weird things, and because again, people need help, and that's why we have lawyers to help through those weird situations of this is what we do. Like, here's the form to fill out to try to get
Hmm.
you out of this mess. Or ideally, it's again creating a company. It's like I have a new idea. It's like, okay, we create a company, we, get your idea, go to the patent office or, whatever IP needs to be protected, protect it. Like that's the fun stuff.
Yeah.
And as opposed to it's the worst day of your life and you now need help and just no fun. Speaking of oddities, so some kids have to break into a mansion, abandoned mansion to get an amulet. Okay, you issue spotted it. I got some thoughts on it too. So take it away.
Yeah, it's illegal. You should not break into houses, abandoned or not. Um, Especially not if your intention is to steal things.
This is the wrinkle I have with that. It's abandoned. And if it's abandoned property, no one has domain over it. Now, you still shouldn't go spelunking around an abandoned property because you could get hurt, as evidenced by people falling through floors and other bad things that happened. But if it's abandoned, nobody technically owns it. And
Somebody has control over it, whether it's, you know, a person or a governmental entity or something. It's not public property.
it's not public property, but it's in a different category. Um,
Yeah.
and because again, it's hard to be accused of theft of abandoned property because it's abandoned.
Hard, but not impossible.
True, true. Again, I didn't say it's a slam dunk. But again, like, where's the fun? Like, this movie is kids fighting, 12-year-olds fighting monsters. So
Lawyers tend to suck the fun out of all things.
it's like you're a buzzkill. Uh, it's like, well, like
That's why I
that.
don't get invited to parties.
Again, that's why I'm not on the bowling team. Like, I'm the one pointing out we can't do that. Like that's not insured, man. Like, don't do that. And thus we're alone. All right. We have Dracula. This is, I think, one of the scariest Draculas on screen. Like he's cruel. He
Hmm.
looks sophisticated. Like he's, I think, a little more Christopher Lee than Bela Lugosi, but definitely he's up there with looking suave and sophisticated and terrifying. Um,
Yeah, he doesn't have any of the redeeming features that I tend to associate with Dracula movies, where he's like a person of the town, or he has some like cover for being a vampire. This guy is just, I'm going to kill anybody who gets in my way of total world domination.
I'm doing a quick Google search. Duncan Regnar, who was in a lot of
Hmm.
long career, Zorro TV series. God, he in Deep Space Nine, or is that somebody else who just looks a lot like him? Oh, including Airbud. So, good for him. He was in V, don't know what character, variety of TV shows. He's very effective as Dracula, being a very scary, and he has dynamite.
And a lot of it.
He's had a century to prepare.
I mean, sure. I don't know when they came out with sticks of dynamite. I'm sure it was readily available, but in 1985, it's not in every corner drugstore.
No, no, it's not. And he was in Deep Space Nine.
Who was he in DS9?
He was a recurring role of Sakaar Eden, who was a Bajoran freedom fighter.
Yeah, he was one of the counselors, wasn't he?
Yes. So he also played Ronan. So I'm not sure. That definitely looks like a holodeck character. The episode was Sub Rosa it was a TNG episode, and then 3 episodes in Deep Space Nine.
Huh.
So, memorable face.
Oh, no, that's the ghost that Crusher falls in love with.
Oh, okay, so he's the candle ghost. So,
Yeah.
okay, something that lives in infamy that we should cover for the 60th anniversary of Star Trek of
Yeah.
Racing Bev meme as well. So, yes.
Yeah, I'm sure Gates McFadden loves that one.
She's on Instagram, like made fun of it at a like one of the cruises that they did, like and
Oh,
holding
good.
holding up one of the candles. So it was just like, well done.
That's
Okay.
just a sense of humor.
Yeah, it's like, all right, why does this dude look so familiar? And that would be why. All right, so he's super lethal. But again, like he throws dynamite in the treehouse and says meeting adjourned. Again, it was just like bravo! Just like such a great villain. Like the 80s cheese factor is high, but then he's like snapping necks in the final
Yeah.
fight. It's like picks the little girl up by her chin. Like mean, scary, terrifying. Like he really played the role well.
He did. Not a like I I had not seen this movie. I hadn't done a lot of research about it before I watched it. I was not going into it expecting that level of acting.
Yeah, he does a very good job.
Yeah.
And it's like they wrote it well of like, let's make Dracula scary.
Hmm.
Make Wolfman you're sympathetic towards the human half of the Wolfman. But yeah, he's running around with dynamite, car without registration or license plate, so that's a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a very lethal Dracula who has a pretty significant body count by the end of the film. But he lets the pilots live. Dynamite is regulated. People just don't go buy dynamite. Like that's how you end up on an FBI watch list.
Yeah.
I need more.
Even buying the ingredients to make it in your shop class would probably put you on somebody's keep an eye on this person list.
Especially today. Like there was, yeah, it's like, people can't just buy fertilizer, in bulk. Like there's requirements of how not to end up on a watch list. Let's talk about legal justification for killing the Wolfman. We have the sympathetic human who knows he has a problem, that he has this disease that turns him into a werewolf and he goes around killing people and he can't control the wolf. The wolf is a threat. the wolf is killing people, and he's killing people in a way that doesn't create more werewolves.
Hmm.
I don't know if that was intentional, but like no one gets scratched. Um, and if they did, it's you don't see anyone getting scratched. But he does kill people.
I was kind of ready for the dad to get bitten by the werewolf or something toward the end, and for that to be like the cliffhanger at the end of the movie, but it never.
This is very representative of an 80s dad on a redemption arc.
Hmm.
Okay, so like divorce was a real thing for boomer parents in the 80s. And so kids dealt with that of their baby boomer parents getting divorced and parents going to couples therapy and counseling and trying to save marriages. Like that was a thing. And 80s dads on redemption arc in movies is a motif.
Yeah.
And
Although I also thought good on them for having a marriage counselor in 1987.
yeah, that was again growing up with divorced parents. Yeah, I do not remember that in the late 70s, early 80s, but that was more of a thing that was at least verbalized by the late 80s.
Mm.
Um, and they do play the like dad's job is causing the problems. Being a police officer is hard. Like
Yeah.
there are jobs that are hard because they take a lot of time. Like there are lawyers who are lawyers have a very high divorce rate.
Mhm.
There's the mantra of like lawyers should not marry other lawyers. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with
But
it.
it's a mantra.
But it's a mantra. It's like because they like those marriages frequently end in divorce. There are
Yeah.
people that are very successful because again, it's a
Yeah.
hard job with lots of hours, and
And
that
you tend to bring stress home.
yeah, I do think the practice of law has gotten better about recognizing work-life balance and not having again like 1980s boiler room type hours.
Hmm.
But same, similar problems for police officers, or anyone in public safety that they work some extreme hours. And like, if you're it's like my mom was a paramedic and she was good at not bringing the job home with her,
Wow.
but she had calls that bothered her, like the domestic violence one that she ended up testifying in, found the records from that. There was a murder suicide where a mom killed her kids and then killed herself. And like in that one,
Uh,
that one really bothered her. Because the kids
those are
were,
rough.
yeah, the kids were like my age. And so, yeah, like that
Double
freaked her,
rough.
yeah, freaked her out. Like that takes a toll.
Hmm.
And it's, you need to have a supportive spouse and also self-awareness in dealing with that kind of work-life balance. So
Yeah.
again, marriage counseling and therapy were probably very good things for, father of two, um, trying to make things work. But ironically, this horrific experience turns into like family bonding time.
Trauma
Con
bonding.
Yeah, it's like because of a giant threat, everyone puts aside differences really fast. And
Yeah.
like, what's important to me? Like my kid's important to me, so I'm going to go fight a werewolf and vampire. So kudos to dad.
Yeah.
Junior shows up and helps, and together, father and son blow up a werewolf. Like that's I hope you and your kids never have to do that. So
Same.
um that's a rough afternoon. You then have, the Rudy ends up
Hmm.
killing the werewolf, turns human, and the human says thank you before dying. Legal justification. So you get wild animals, like killing a wild animal that's a threat to someone is justified. A human being turning into a wild animal that can kill someone gets weird.
Yeah. I mean, I think the human being turning into a werewolf makes it a little weird, but if you just stick with the human being, there are legal justifications for killing people.
Yes.
Self-defense, defense of others. crazy person on a murder spree around town probably gets you there. The imminent threat that you need, there is certainly an imminent threat to, was it Sean and his dad?
Yep.
Um, he's probably clean on this one. That said, it's still not the best idea in real life. Generally, a real bad idea.
No.
Would not recommend. But for movie purposes, I think Rudy, this is probably not on his list of legal problems at the end of the movie.
No, no, he has other ones.
He does.
He's got other problems, but okay, he'll have to live with killing someone
He will.
because it's one thing for Horace to kill the Gill Man. It's like that was a scary monster. I killed the scary monster. Okay, probably traumatic, different levels of I killed the scary monster, and then it turned into a broken human being who said thank you before dying. He should get therapy for that. He should go talk to someone for that because it raises the issue that here's someone with a condition where they turn into a killing machine and they have no control over it, and the rest of society ignores him.
Hmm.
Okay.
Even when he's asking for help not to be a killing machine.
Yeah, and so every because they're like, no, you're crazy, and not the type of crazy we want to help.
Yeah.
So we're gonna leave you to go be a danger to others. There's all kinds of problems with that because the issue should be like, is there a way where he gets to live? And on nights in a full moon, that he's, in an area where he could not get out and cause anyone problems. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be plan A, not we'll just put him down. Dark, sad. They do
And an interesting an interesting delve into the idea of, the monster inside kind of thing. The Hulk does that real well too.
yeah,
But
and they're again different versions of the Hulk. And
yeah.
I mean, this movie does a good job with empathy for two of the creatures. So Wolfman has empathy because there's a human
Hmm.
being. This is one of the best Frankenstein's monsters ever. Like the creature's done with love.
Yeah.
It's a nice exploration of humanity, the other being treated differently and persecuted, uh, kids accepting someone who's different
Hmm.
and having empathy, and shows kindness, and he switches sides. Like he's sent to kill children, he doesn't do
Yeah,
it.
it's not gonna do that. No, thank you.
And again, which breaks the mold from the early Universal monster movies where you have little Maria get thrown in the lake. So he's sympathetic
Yeah.
and protects the children. His demise at the end is endearing because
Hmm.
he's the hero. He gets the hero move.
Yeah.
He gets to save the little girl from Dracula. I remember cheers in the theater,
I'll bet.
because again, people love a hero, and in seeing a nice hero
Yeah.
move when there's something very bad about to happen and somebody stops it.
Yeah. And people also love the redemption arc. The you're a monster because of the way you look. But he's never, of all of the monsters in the movie, he's the one that never does anything particularly monstrous, if I remember.
No,
Like Dracula
everybody,
just kind of pulls him out of a crate, assumes he's going to be a villain with them, and sends him to kill the kids. And
yeah, the creature from the Black Lagoon, team bad guy.
yeah,
Wolfman, team bad guy, team not bad guy.
the
Yeah,
Mummy,
the Mummy. Okay,
also team bad guy.
team bad guy, clearly team bad guy, but again, in a way that what's been going on for like 2000 years.
Hanging out in museums, getting free food off of buffets, I'm sure.
Yeah, just getting that would be a weird existence. Like, does he sleep for a century or two, get up and like, okay, what time is it? Okay.
What's the internet?
Yeah, it's like what's an airplane? And what do you mean people went to the moon? And
Yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna go back to sleep. This is all freaking me out. And
right.
yeah, so but again, you have two of them that are sympathetic and others who are not. They do touch on the Holocaust because again, you have scary German guy, and that's his
Yeah.
who survived. We see the tattoo on his arm when he says he knows about real monsters, meaning that he survived a death camp.
Hmm.
He has a model B-17, and when the kids actually meet scary German guy, they come over for pie.
Yeah.
Okay, you should not invite kids over and feed them. That's again, that was a very 1980s thing, and also goes against all the training that we have on like don't take candy from strangers.
Yeah.
But it's like, can you read German? And they get pie. He helps.
Creepy today worked out for them.
Yeah, it's like but it highlights don't think that the scary German guy is a scary German guy. He survived a death camp.
Hmm.
Again, does stand down Dracula.
Yeah.
So give him some credit. So again, you have people who you think are bad
Hmm.
and they're not. So, and that's scary German guy and Frankenstein fall into that category.
Mm. And it is also, I don't know, maybe this is just reflecting on it in the times of which we live, but it is also a nice reminder that the monsters that you need to worry about are not necessarily Dracula and the Wolfman. I mean, yeah, those are fun Hollywood things, but his little his line of when he's closing the door, I've seen real monsters, that really that one has stuck with me for the couple of days since I've seen the movie. But
The I'm thinking about when this is made. So it's 40 years
yeah.
after World War II, or well, 42 since the end of World War II. The World War II generation is like in retirement age.
Hmm.
Their grandparents at this time. You do have that element of the late 80s World War II generation, kind of not in twilight yet, but definitely feeling the call of history because they had lived long, good lives for the most part.
Yeah.
Which now brings us to they needed a virgin to read this, which again is such a weird, ugly trope. I don't get it.
So, I mean, I understand that as like a trope that has run through movies and I assume still runs through movies. What I don't get is why is it always like a woman or a girl?
I don't know, man. Like I, I mean, like, and I don't like saying it was the 80s. Like, that's not a good answer.
But it was the 80s.
But it was the 80s. But there was a lot of, again, the Christian history and like it's like, oh, you're clean, you've
Hmm.
never had sex, and it's just, I mean, like that always just seemed weird. And how that turns into a necessity for the spell to open up a portal to limbo is weird.
Yeah.
That said, they ask the girl and she lies about it. And that causes problems. If she had been, sorry, I can't help you. Let's go talk to some of my friends. Like that, it's like, what's happening? Okay,
Yeah.
maybe Jenny can help. Um, but that's critical information that's needed to save the world. So like, don't lie. Just
Yeah, I'm not sure they did the world's best job of imparting the criticality of the information to her.
oh yeah, again, because it's dopey dudes trying to
Your
ask
kid brother
like
runs up to you. Are you a virgin?
it's again the proper response would
Go
be
talk to mom.
yeah would be a slap.
Yeah.
Like, it's a and then it's like why did Becky slap Timmy? Well, okay, justified. Like
Yep.
no jury will convict. Her not telling the truth ends up causing more problems in a critical stage of
Yeah.
the battle against evil. So again, don't lie. Like, she could just say none of your business or I can't help. Like You're gonna have to go get somebody else. Like, there's a way where she didn't have to disclose that, that didn't involve a lie, that would not cause an end to the world. So,
Yeah.
problem. She
Mm.
doesn't have to disclose her status, but she shouldn't lie about a situation that could cause a bigger problem. So the movie ends with, the heroes win, and it is a good fight. I mean, rewatching that fight scene, you have
It was very good.
Hero Boy Sean getting drug into limbo by Dracula, and he's able to grab a stake and pound it into Dracula's heart. And then you get Van Helsing, who's been in limbo for a century, finish the job.
Yeah.
So there's police officers in Helsing, in addition to others that get sucked into to limbo. Just with that, it's a little unfair that Frankenstein gets sucked in. It's a very sweet part of the story, and the little girl lets her stuffed animal dog,
Mm-hmm.
go with Frankenstein, which again, very sweet, very endearing,
Mm-hmm.
very 1980s. But at the end, the army shows up because Eugene sends a note in crayon to a local army base saying there's monsters, please help. And in good 1980s fashion, the army goes, all right,
I mean, who's gonna send a note in crayon to the army that's not real?
please help monsters. So the positives from this are adults take kids seriously and they show up after this kid's dad basically shames the kid for saying like there's a monster in my closet.
Mm-hmm.
The army believes the kid and shows up. So like the kid's vindicated that way. And then it highlights the importance of believe the kids if a kid's saying something's wrong. That's actually a
Yeah.
really nice message. Tanks roll up to help after dad was a jerk. That said, they could have done other ways to trust and verify, but it raises an interesting posse comitatus issue. Broadly speaking, the army should not be doing law enforcement. There's, and that's because of post Reconstruction. Part of the agreement from the Tilden Hayes presidential dispute that ended with Hayes being president with a promise to only run for being for one term. And you then end up having the Great Railroad Strike happen where troops are sent in and they shoot striking workers in the North.
Mhm.
That upsets a lot of people. And the Posse Comitatus Act is enacted to make sure that troops aren't used on US citizens. And so there are some exceptions to this, like when troops can be deployed within the United States, but generally we don't like this happening. The way to approach it is I pulled up the act. It doesn't apply to like the Coast Guard, which is why Coast Guard can go out and do law enforcement. And we had some changes post 9/11, and those have since expired. Broadly speaking, the act says from the 45th Congress, it shall not be lawful to employ any part of the Army of the United States as a posse comitatus or otherwise for the purpose of executing the laws except in such cases and under such circumstances as such employment of said force may be expressly authorized by the Constitution or act of Congress. And we get into some of the other language that is whenever except in circumstances under expressly authorized by the Constitution or act of Congress, willfully uses any part of the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, or Space Force as a posse comitatus or otherwise to execute the law shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 2 years or both. So again, we don't want the army conducting law enforcement. A monster incursion where the fate of civilization is hanging in the balance. Well, it would be one of those circumstances where no, we're going to send in the troops.
Yeah. I'm sure it's there in the Constitution somewhere, except in case of Dracula.
Yes. If a mummy is involved, go for it. Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah, you guys get in there. So again, I think it does raise some issues of like National Guard should have gone in first. But from an issue of just, the kid who's not believed by his dad that the mummy's in his closet to the army shows up when the kid sends a letter for help is endearing.
That
Huh?
is nice.
Fun fact about the kid's room. He's wearing Robotech PJs. He has a Star Blazers poster
Hmm.
and a Punisher poster on the wall. So again, that looked full on 80s, and the kid liked anime on top of it. Two very popular anime that were mainstream at that point in time. That was cool. Um,
I loved Robotech. I also love Star Blazers, but I watched more of Robotech.
that 80s kid had a very 80s kid bedroom and toys and pop culture in there. So nice little
Had clearly good taste in it.
yeah, yeah. So which meant the set designer had excellent taste. So since this was a new experience for you, what were your overall thoughts on Monster Squad?
Well, I think my overarching thought is that was an aggressively 80s movie. Um, it was good. I like the kind of early team up work. I don't know that there was a lot of kind of team up movies and that's become kind of a thing. Uh, but the early kind of the all these monsters have teamed up. I enjoyed. Some of it was a little too cringeworthy to watch in modern times, which is fine, but it didn't have the nostalgia trip for me that probably would have made that more bearable.
It's interesting to
Um,
hear that because I have gray hair and a receding hairline because I was a kid when this came out.
I do too. I just fuzz my camera and wear my hair long.
Bless you, sir. The So again, part of it is there's a nostalgia factor. I do think this is a brilliant love letter to all the Universal monsters.
Very much so.
I think they really nail the Universal monsters and give humanity to two of them and extreme malice to Dracula.
Hmm.
And it's a very effective Gilman as well, and being scary and a good costume. The cringeworthiness of preteens is painful to see. So like that did not age well, and that is uncomfortable to see at the beginning of this film because of some of the language that the characters use. Again, plot points of peeping toms and others is equally disturbing. That said, it is a fun 80s time capsule of monsters and kids fighting monsters. If any kid watches it, like parents are gonna have to talk to their kids about appropriate language and how we should be better than
Yeah.
than what
I will
happened.
say I do love that the the trope continues all the way through of like the kids have to save the world.
Mhm.
There's a world-ending threats and the adults are nowhere to be found.
So the adults go from not believing to rallying.
Hmm.
So like hero dad steps up,
Yeah.
realizing,
Yeah.
oh, my kid wasn't making this up.
Hmm.
Oh no, I
Oh dear.
I made a mistake. I'm fixing it right now.
Yeah.
Um, that's endearing.
Yeah.
So again, there are some sins in this. Some are forgivable, some are not, and yeah, some are very awkward. But overall, again, I do have a strong affinity for this movie because of timing and what it
Yeah.
represents.
But like there are a lot of movies from that time period that I love because they were things I watched with my dad or something's
Mhm.
just wasn't one of them. Um, but it is a very fun movie.
Yes. And again, I do, especially if you love classic Universal monsters, I would say check this out. And
Yeah.
uh, and if you're a parent with a preteen and they watch it, you're gonna have to talk to them.
Yeah. You watch it after they go to bed.
Yeah, again, let's talk to your kids of appropriate behavior and how
Maybe both.
yeah, we've learned we're gonna do better. That's the that's a good message here. So.
Yeah.
So with that, Jordan, thanks for helping with this and
Well, thank you, Josh.
celebrating spooky season. And
Happy Halloween, everybody.
yes, yes, stay spooky. So everyone, thanks for tuning in, and we will have more coverage. So the plan's to cover a hammer film. We won't tell you which one yet. And another classic from the late 80s. So with that, wherever you are, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay geeky. Take care.